I have nothing but feel great about my ancestors because I think it's a wonderful, wonderful thing that they did to purchase this property for their family.
It feels like you're a living dream of theirs, that somewhere in the back of their mind, they dreamed that from generations on after we're gone, that somebody in our family will continue to live here for generations and generations and generations until the Lord comes back. So.
Like the dew in the morning that rises with the sun to water the face of the earth, a seed now has what it needs to give birth. A land planted and cultivated by hands of laborers that made a way for us to rest in peace. By the sweat of their brow, they toil to till the ground for harvest. The fruit of the land is now ripe.
We probably, had to have quite a bit of impact on the city. I think we were the first black family that settled in Lake Dallas. That our family lived there over 200 years ago or something,
I think people don't realize is how many Black settlers there were in Lewisville, especially early on. Lewisville was primarily a very rural area. That's why their mascot is the Fighting Farmers, is because they were farmers. There was quite a large population that maybe have come to Lewisville originally as enslaved people, and then chose to remain in Lewisville once they were freed, and even some that came after emancipation. Definitely, there are still descendants in Lewisville today from the settlers that may have come in the 1850s, 60s, or 70s.
We originally lived on my granddaddy's farm in Lake Dallas until 1950 and 51. When we put in the lake, we had to move. We moved to Lewisville. So we've been in Lewisville ever since.
I have enjoyed Lewisville. It has been good to me. I've seen it grow from 2 streets now to many people.
A class of probably 900 some students come out in 87 when I graduated, and only probably 11 of us was black, and most of them was my kinfolks, and then the 2 or 3 blocks that you was on was your family, live across the street from my grandmother, my uncles, my cousins. They're always in the same neighborhood, so you're growing up with your family pretty much,
I had a great time in Lewisville. We would run around all day as little kids. 5, 6 years old.
I was born here, and we never did move nowhere. Everybody got along.
Well, everybody knew one another. When I tell people we used to walk from Lake Dallas to Lewisville, they think I'm lying. But it's true, because where we lived, where the lake is now, there was a railroad trestle, and we lived down close to the railroad trestle. These black people lived on what they call a buttermilk hill, and we would walk from Lake Dallas to Lewisville, which was Brother Big Hill.
My grandparents were prominent people I got that impression as a kid. My grandmother had a whole row pew at the church at Lane Chapel, which was started by my dad's grandfather, Anthony, in 1882.
"100 years ago, the city of Lewisville was born, but its roots goes back much further. Before the city lines were drawn, before the highways traveled to Denton, before the bridge sprawled across the lake, many black families like the Foxes, the Champions, the Hembrys laid down stories, sacrifices, and sacred ground.
Jim Champion bought the property.
Okay.
But
for
then-
$25.
For $25. And then after
And what
his,
year was that? Do you know?
in 1855. And this where it all began, right here. And then these are all of his kids. Carolyn, Carolyn, Marvin, Harvey. And then over here on this side, it's ain't Lorraine and ain't Irene.
Back then, it was very important because they didn't want blacks and whites buried in the same cemetery. So that's how the black cemeteries come about.
The history for me was to go and look at grave sites of people I never knew and look at their gravestone to see, my grandfather, World War II and all that on his headstone, United States Army. Because I got cemetery, my dad's family there and my mom's family is there.
The Hamptons bought that little plot over in there where the cemetery is, and they named it Mount Olive. And then in 1957, when the lake come through there, Lake Lewisville, they moved the Champion Cemetery over there.
Just basically on how our great-grandfather inherited the cemetery when the dam broke, and they ended up moving us from down to 35 in corporate.
And we had access from the service road from 77 to there. And then when the Hamptons sold their land, Huffines and them come together and taking our access road to 77, which is 35. They thought it was all one cemetery, but it wasn't. It was two cemeteries. And they taking our part of the land from the Champion Cemetery and mixed it all with Mount Olive Cemetery, which is Macedonian Cemetery. But it wasn't a fair deal, but what can you say?
I feel like the stories need to be told from every aspect. The stories need to be told so that we will know, because we perish from the lack of knowledge. If you're knowledgeable about something that your family has, you can always prosper from it.
They struggle to keep this cemetery alive, put the movie theater back there, and so all this business, it's kind of like you trying to hide something that was so beautiful to the people that started this. With lack of education that people maybe had back then, to not put their stamp on it, so it won't be taken away from you. You wouldn't be pushed out. I'm not blaming anybody for anything, because I just think the knowledge and the education wasn't there to be able to do that, to keep that, make sure that we stay on front. Make sure we still have the back way to get in the cemetery, that we wasn't forgotten.
So I worked with some of the families with on Champion, Macedonia, to get it certified as a Texas Historic Cemetery. So I worked on that application and submitted it to the Texas Historical Commission. So in that process, I was able to do some research on Macedonia and on Champion, which were two separate cemeteries. Champion was moved to Macedonia.
The Champion Macedonia Cemetery became historical in January. Well, we didn't get a chance to celebrate because it was too cold and we all was freezing, but I am gonna take care of them.
My mom, my aunt knew who grave site was, whether they had a name on it or not. They knew who got buried where. They walk out there just to be overseeing as a young boy and see them sit out there and talk about that type of stuff. Yeah, they put such right here, and I think that's the boy that he died. They put him over there in the corner over there. They knew the grave sites of each person who buried out there. You could not come get buried out there if you didn't come through them. You gotta go get permission. If someone passed away, you gotta get permission, and not just a city. You gotta get permission from them, so they don't know who's coming.
From civil rights to stories about slavery, Black history runs deep in North Texas.
Earliest families to settle the area, now known as the town of Hickory Creek, Texas.
Yeah, Cassandra Fox, she was brought over here by the white slave master, J.K. Fox, from the Caribbean.
Some stories even say that she brought one child with her under her dress. I don't know how true that is, but that's the story, and that's what we're gonna stick with.
She ended up having about 5 or 6 more children, about 6 more children, once she became a slave here in the United States.
One of those kids that she gave birth to was my grandfather's mother.
They ended up, taking the slave master's last name, of course,
My great aunts. Earlene and Robbie were the last 2 living children from Cassandra Fox. The rest of them had passed off.
Cassandra was my great-great-grandmother, and then she had Scott, and then Scott had Jim, and then Jim had Homer, who was my father. So I was like 5th generation from Cassandra.
It's always been pretty amazing to me that out of slavery, they were able to acquire all this land and to keep it. In the year 2031, the cemetery will be 200 years old.
I know my mother would always visit the cemeteries on special occasions, and so the cemetery was a place where you would have solace, so you could go visit your families that had gone on before you, and it was a remembrance of times old.
In my 30s, I guess, when I was old enough to really understand that this is a sacred place, I started seeing just people just coming and dumping junk and trash right near the cemetery.
We recently showed you volunteers in Lewisville cleaning up a little-known historic Black cemetery.
Hidden next to a warehouse and railroad tracks, the Fox-Hembry Cemetery. A 14-year-old girl named Melinda, the first to be buried here. Not a legacy everyone respects. An illegal trash pile sits just yards away from the cemetery.
But I knew they had problems trying to keep it clean and things like that.
They dumped everything back over in there, and we had a gate put up, and they stole the gate. And just a lot of little things. They didn't care nothing about blacks.
The city of Lewisville has been very, very, very helpful in us maintaining the cemetery.
I have to say that I really appreciate the city of Lewisville for the investment that they have made in the cemetery over the years, because one of the first cleanup days that I went to at the cemetery. I think Miss Jackie Shaw, who is a community activist in the Lewisville area, helped kind of coordinate that.
I'm here with Kim and Megan of the Denton County African American Museum. I would like to present 3 proclamations to you on behalf of the descendants of Cassandra Fox. We feel like this is the right place for it to be, and we know that you guys will do the right thing with it and for other generations after us to view.
My husband passed away in 2002, and he's there. My headstone is already there. Only thing I need to do is put on the date that I passed away.
When my dad wanted to be buried there, and I asked him why, we all live in Denton now. He just said it's a family cemetery, and that's where I want to be. We talked about it, my sister and I, and we decided to do it, and that's what we did, because that was a wish that he wanted. So he's down there. His name is Albert Leo Champion, Jr.
Well, we need to preserve it for the future generation, you know. I mean, like, I wish that I had asked my grandparents a lot more questions when I was a kid, you know, because there's a lot of stuff that I don't know, but I would like to know. We need to keep talking to the younger kids and filling them in on our Black history, because they don't get it in school.
I think it's very important for everybody to know where their past comes from, and it's important to have everybody's stories told, no matter who you are, what you know, where you come from. That's an importance that, and especially the stories that aren't in the history books.
Personally, I think, you know, growing up, especially in our culture, some of the stuff we should talk about, we don't talk about. For some reason or another, they get through it, because you think about people before, they went through some stuff we never really thought about going through. But no one talked to you about how, and we was talking about this a little earlier, after people have passed, gone on, then you think about, I should have asked them that.
It's a legacy that they left for us. And also for the generations after I'm gone, if they see the example that's being done now, it will continue. But if they see our generation not caring about it, 9 times out of 10, they're gonna say, well, we don't have anything to fall back on. We don't remember doing anything. But if we get them involved doing it now, it'll be a continuous cycle of things done, because I guarantee you that our ancestors sacrificed something, okay?
I'm happy that there's an interest in the cemeteries and that there is a revitalization of Black cemeteries, because if we're not careful, we could lose the knowledge that we have, because many of us are now in our 70s. And once we're gone, the younger generation, they really don't care about the history. People don't really care about what happened back when.
So much of white history is written down and is reflected, and it's kind of the stories of our African American histories and our other minorities that we don't have, that are getting passed down. And if we don't collect it now, then we won't be able, once people are gone, we don't have their stories anymore. And it's so important to preserve the stories that haven't been told versus stories that everybody has heard.
You can't describe it, but you know, you feel the presence of them saying good job, you know, because anybody could have sold the property.
It was to let everybody know that we weren't beggars. We were doers, been able to maintain what we had. And that was the most important thing, is maintaining what you have.
I'm actually proud of all my ancestors. It means that they cared.
It feels like you're a living dream of theirs, that somewhere in the back of their mind, they dreamed that from generations on after we gone, that somebody in our family will continue to live here. That's history. I'm a part of history, of my family's history, and it's a great feeling.
What started as a seed of faith is now what we see today. And although flesh lies to rest, the spirit of excellence goes beyond the grave, never bound nor enslaved, but ready to be embraced by those who would embrace it. And although we're here to celebrate the lives of those who paved the way and lay in wait until the day, we are here to contribute to greatness in places beyond the grave, living to give all we've been given while amongst the living, because one day we too shall die. And the following generation will either cry or rejoice because of our decision to be a voice, to push the vision forward, to stay the course, to keep the torch burning for 100 years more.
How'd y'all like that film? They did a good job, right? So first I just want to, I know a lot of people have said, thank you for all of this. Y'all, we could not have done this without all the people you saw in that film and everybody running around doing everything else. So thank y'all so much. And thank y'all for being here. One of the things that we did not want is to have this amazing film and not have the house full. So to see all of y'all is so amazing. And all the contributions of the families and everyone who came out. We had people who were clawing to get tickets because we sold out. So very appreciative of that. So at this point, I do want to call all of our panelists up so we can start our panel discussion. Please. So if y'all, all right. So first of all, thank y'all so much. Number one, for being a part of the film, for saying yes. Let me just tell you the backstory of this. I always say our city manager, Claire, I call them Claire's crazy ideas. I have a little folder for them. And so she came to my team and said, you know, I got this idea. And so anytime I brace myself and I'm like, okay, what is it? So we're in the centennial year, and one of the missing pieces that we didn't have was a lot of our African-American history. And as you know from this film and just from being in Lewisville, is that we have a very unique story. We have 2 historically Black cemeteries here in Lewisville. Where else do you know that, right? So she wanted to capture that. So she said, I think it would be great. Maybe we get the families together. Maybe we just have a discussion with them. We can record it, something like that. So that was back in January of this year. And so what happened was that I got with the Edie's. And so I said, hey, here's the idea. Here's kind of what we want to do. And from there, Harry and Linda literally blew me away. They said, no, we need to capture this. We need to make a film about this. We need to get people out in front of it. And so now this is what you see today. So that is why we're here. But the other reason why we're here is because of these lovely people who said yes. And I was very nervous to approach them about this. This is not my wheelhouse. I kept telling Micah, I was like, is it a film? Do I call it a short film? How is this a production? I don't know what to call it. I want to be politically correct. And so to reach out to these people, for them to say yes was amazing to me. So kudos to them. So I'm going to have y'all to introduce yourselves. You all should have mics, I believe, beside you.
All right. So thank everybody for being here tonight. It is an honor. And if you don't mind, just for 1 second, I'd like to thank the city of Lewisville for putting this together. It's great. It encourages other generations to do good things. And if she's still here, this is on my heart. If Bobby Mitchell is still here. Still. Okay. Stand up, please. Bobby, I just wanted to show you the love that we have for you and what you've been going through. And our heart is with you. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. So my name is Reginald Edwards. I'm 7th generation Fox. I reside now in the town of Hickory Creek, Texas. I'm 62 as of yesterday. And I'm just a proud family member, and I'm just hopefully doing the right thing each and every day to uplift my family, uplift my friends, and it's a great honor. And I just want to say, Micah, you did a great job, man. It almost brought tears to me, man, but you did a great job, and thank you so much. Speak into it.
I am May Clark Broadnax. I'm the great-granddaughter of Jim and Carrie Fox from Lake Dallas. My grandmother was Ethel Fox, and her son was Trazel, which was my dad. I am very proud of all of my ancestors. The legacy that they left us means so much to me. I've always done what I could, when I could. As of last month, I turned 80 years old. I can't do anything else. But I done my part, and I continue to do my part because I'm gonna tell them others what to do. So they're gonna have to listen to me as long as I can. I get questioned all the time about my daughters. They try to straighten me out, but hey, I listen to them, and I go and do what I want to do. But I appreciate everything that they have done for the city of Lewisville has done, and our movie was excellent. I was a nervous wreck, but I appreciate everything. So I'm going to turn it over to my cousin.
Hi, my name is Betty Fox McKinney, and my great-great-grandmother was Cassandra Fox. That's the one that started all this, the one that was brought over from Jamaica by J.K. Fox, the white fox. And I'm 5th generation from Cassandra. So I was like, I don't know, I remember Jim Fox, because he was my grandfather. And he died when I was 3 years old. So I remember all the old Fox sisters that lived at the home place. And we used to go down there every week or so. Well, we lived down there, first of all, in Lake Dallas, all the way down where the lake is. Our property was where the lake is now. I mean, like, water is there. But, the government forced us out. and they used eminent domain, I do believe, to force us out of our land. So that's how we ended up moving up to Denton, Texas. But once I graduated from high school, I moved to Seattle, Washington. So I was gone, and I lived in Seattle, I lived in California. So I was gone for 32 years. So I wasn't really involved a lot in the cemetery. But I've been back now about 25 years. So, I got more acquainted with the cemetery. And I'm very proud of the cemetery and very proud of my ancestors and very proud of what my cousins have done to keep it up. So I thank you guys very much for that.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Eric Brown. I'm part of the Brown and Champions background. Live in Lewisville all my life, born and raised here. Cemetery full of family champions, Brown, Crosby, all through the cemetery. Grew up mowing and cutting grass there since I was like 8 years old. And I wonder how I got chose for this. I was like, I get chose for this. And I found out today why I got chose. And my niece said, I gave him your name. And I was thinking, why didn't I get my brother, my sister? Because they a lot older than me. Ever since I said, I don't think I'm old enough for this. Ever since I said that, my knee been hurting me. So I guess I am old enough for it, but it was a pleasure to be a part of this team, to be on this, just to think about the history. And may you actually sit back and think how far we came, as a family and a foundation that I came from, and explains, that foundation that runs on for generation to generation came from that cemetery, from a lot of people who've land down in that cemetery, a lot of people who started out in Lewisville from the ground up and until we are right now. And so I thought my sister did a great job. We keep her in prayer. She's in the hospital right now, but I know I told her today I was coming to this, and she started talking about the history. She started telling me, oh yeah, down at the bottom, they moved them out of there, and she started telling me all about the history then. But Bob was thankful to be part of this team. He did an amazing job on this film. Thank you for that.
Hello, is this live? Okay. I'm Lisa Hembry. My sister, Dr. Karen Hembry, is here with me. And my Cassandra Fox was my great-great-grandmother. Her daughter, Ida, got married to my great-grandfather, Anthony Hembry, and they just lived and prospered in Lewisville for many, many years. So, this project was so exciting to me because my dad was an only child, and he loved Lewisville. Every Wednesday on his off day, we would be either in Lewisville visiting family members or in Denton visiting family members, and he just wanted us to continue to be connected. The cemetery is very special to me because, the sadness in my life is that my two children are buried there. And so every time I go there, I just get very emotional, and I think about, one day I'll be there, and my granddaughter will be there, and my great-granddaughter will be there. And so I want to make sure that that place is still there. The amazing thing to me is that, number one, these people just a few years out of slavery were able to buy land, and not just the cemetery. They bought a lot of stuff. And they started a church in 1882 called Lane Chapel. It's still there. Pardon me. And it is an historic facility as well. But Lewisville has been so wonderful to the Fox-Hembry family. And I'm just really grateful to the Eddies, to Micah, for your just amazing talent. He made everything so easy, working through the process. And so thank you all for being here. I want to thank especially Ms. Powell, Claire. She is just an amazing leader in Lewisville, and Mayor Gilmore and others. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We are very grateful to you.
Once again, my name is Micah Autry, and I'm the filmmaker. Two things I would say with my time really quick is that we came up here and tested on Tuesday. You can test before, and technical difficulties still happen. But we're resilient people, so we keep trekking on, all right? And going to keep on trekking on. The other two things I'll say really quick is that it take a team, it took a family to put this together. But I want to highlight two individuals, Miss Casey sitting up here and Dr. Karen. You all stand. Can we give them a round of applause? They sent out texts. They help coordinate all the family, the schedules. And so I want to thank my line producers. That's what we call them in the industry, our line producers. They help bring everything together and make this happen.
Awesome. Thank y'all so much for those introductions. I just have a few more questions, and then we will, of course, open it up to the audience. So if other folks have questions as well. One of the questions that I have, and maybe a couple of you can answer this, what impact have your family members, your families, had on the city of Lewisville and also the other surrounding areas in Denton County?
Well, what I can say is that there are 3 streets named after, there's a Fox Avenue, could be our family, could be the other Foxes, we don't know. There's a Hembry Street and there's a McKenzie Street. And my grandmother's family, they were the McKenzies. And so, you just feel this deep, deep connection because the city has chosen to recognize the contributions of this Black family in this community. And so we're tremendously honored.
Yeah, I'll add to that and say that some of the history goes back as like one of the first Black Dallas policemen on I think it was the Brotherton side. We've had principals of high schools in our family. We've had entrepreneurs. My mother, and she's not here tonight, but she was a district manager for Golden State Mutual, which is a Black-owned insurance company, and she did that for like 28, 29 years. Lisa is so humble, she won't tell y'all, but she was Dallas County Treasurer. She did that for, I think, 2, 3 years, 4 years? 4 years. And there's a lot of more other accomplishments in our family. I like to say the generation behind me, we have a lot of college graduates, and they're on to doing better things in life. And just like this plant right here, we all come from the root or the bark of the foxes, but there's a lot of families that leaved off and branched off of that bark. There's the crafts, it's a lot of crafts, the Berries, the Pieces, the Davises, the Clarks, and I know without UC5 representative, but I know that there's a lot of other family members that are doing great things. And for the younger generation, my prayer is that you guys continue to know your history. And the things that we're doing now, we're just setting the table for you guys. And when it's your time, you'll have to set the table for the next generation. And we're just doing the things that we're supposed to do that have been passed down to us. Your time is coming. And those are some of the contributions I would be able to say that I know of. And there's probably some more family names that Robinsons. You just have a lot of family members that names are not called, but they fall off the branch of the Foxes, the Greens. It's just so many. And so we're all a big, big family.
It's awesome.
All right.
Awesome. So, go ahead, right ahead. Excuse me. Yes, Miss.
I happen to live on one of the streets. I live on McKenzie. It's a great honor to be able to live on one of your ancestors' names. My church is on Hembry and McKenzie. So the neighborhood is being kept in family members, pretty much.
I would say based on a lot of hard work for our families. Some of the families I think about, laying the foundation, we talk about education, going to school, but also just it's hard to find, you know, a home that's not built by somebody in our families. Bricks they laid many years ago, but that work ethic that they gave us, that impacted our community, our families. You're gonna go to work, and you're gonna have a job. I don't care what it is, but you're gonna go to work, or you can go to school, or go to the military. That was your choices. But you're gonna work hard, and you're gonna continue to work. And so that's the impact that we brought to Lewisville. I think my family. Yes.
Well, I know my dad, when I was... Is this thing working? Yes, just check. Anyway, when I was little, I remember my dad had cotton fields that belonged to him. It was our land. And he had cotton fields, and so he employed people to work. So he made it, possible for a lot of the blacks to have a job. And then Lisa, right? I get y'all mixed up, Lisa and Karen. But anyway, the first time I ever had a dentist work on my mouth was her father. He was, I think, one of the first black dentists in Dallas. And then we had the first black police officer in Dallas too, right? Yeah. So, our family has made a lot of contributions to this Denton County area, North Texas area. And I'm very proud of my roots, very proud of my family. And it was a great film, and thank you. And thank all of you guys for coming out.
Thank you. So I know y'all have talked a lot about the history and the impact, and we talked a little bit about the struggles also in the film. So I wanted to just ask, and maybe, one person from both families, but what problems and challenges have your families gone through having historically black cemeteries here in Lewisville? What were the challenges, the problems that y'all may have faced or have faced?
The upkeep.
Yep.
Just just to keep it looking nice. It just didn't look like the rest of the cemetery around town. When you go down there, every time someone gets ready to get buried, someone got to go down there and cut it to make sure they got a space to be. But just getting in the habit, just where it's monthly or 2 months, keeping it nice, groomed. We do appreciate the last few years, everybody the volunteers have came out and cut the trees back and got the grass cut down. Looks very good out there right now. It made a place where now you can go out there, you can want to stay. Before, you had to go and watch where you were stepping, but I would say upkeep for us.
We had trouble, I don't know if it's working, but we had trouble keeping people from, they just went there and just start dumping. And it would literally, I would bring tears to my eyes, honestly, to see that happen. Because why can't you just let our ancestors rest in peace? Why would you want to do that? I don't understand people that want to vandalize sacred grounds. That's just beneath me. I just don't understand it.
Thank you for that. Also, another question. So just kind of talking about, and I know, Reggie, you talked a little bit about this before, but just for the audience, how do you ensure that this legacy that y'all have continued to keep going, how do you ensure that future generations understand the importance of it and continue it on?
Well, I would say leading by example. If the younger generation, they pretty much will copy what they see the other generation of the people before them. If they see every Memorial Day you're going out and cleaning the cemetery, or if you're setting flowers, that tradition will continue because we're still doing it, and somebody had to have done it before us. And so I believe, like on Memorial Days, Veterans Day, their birthdays and anniversaries, or anything that would bring us all together to, make sure, like my cousin here said, that make sure that that cemetery is clean. I think if the younger generations see what we're doing, it should be a pretty set thing for them to do.
Also, Ms. Tamara, our cemetery has a structure around it. So we have a cemetery association that has a board of directors that is elected by the 5 branches of the family and alternates. And you know, I think that has made a tremendous difference to have rules around upkeep, you know, and there are several members of the board of directors who are here tonight. But I think that that's going to make a tremendous difference. My granddaughter is an alternate on the board, and so getting those younger people, as Reggie was saying, involved in the management of the cemetery association and the cemetery has made a big difference. Also, just like the Champion Cemetery is an historic cemetery, the land will never be sold. And a lot of people contributed to the story of those cemeteries, but just to have that on the National Register of Historic Places makes a huge difference. And I think that these families will continue to honor our ancestors by taking care of that property.
Fantastic. So I'm going to move some questions over to Micah. He's in the hot seat, the bench, I guess you would say. So Micah, tell us what sparked your involvement with the film.
Yeah, so I have had a awesome relationship with Harry and Linda Eady of the Denton Black Film Festival, and they're one of those people, once they get a hold of you, they're not letting you go. And so anytime they're doing something, they love to bring me in, and I love to be a part of it. We came and met with the awesome Tamara Miller here at the City Hall and kind of got to planning, and we actually start filming this. They know this the first week of May, and to have this done the second week of June is an awesome feat, and it really just took a team effort.
Yeah, absolutely. And so for y'all, what was it like? Because when I called Miss Cassie, I will tell you this, she was like, we're going to be camera ready. I said, okay. I said, y'all be camera ready. But how was that, working with Micah, working with the film? I don't know if any of y'all have a background in or been on camera that way. Eric said, I'm like, no. But how was that? How was that experience?
That was a great experience. When Cassie called me, she texted me and she said, "Cuz, I need you." I said, "What's going on?" She said, "I need you. Can you come to the City Hall on Sunday? And going to do a film." A film? So I told my wife, I said, "I got to go to City Hall. I'm going to be in a movie." She said, "Why they pick you?" I said, I don't know. We will see when I get there. But when we got there, we were sitting around talking, and when I got in, Michael came in, he put all these big cameras behind you and had you on the spotlight. I was like, dang, this is like a real movie. Let's speak here. I said, at first I told him, I don't know how much I'm going to be able to tell you. He said, "I got you. Don't worry about it. I got you. We're going to get through this together." He said, and then he kept reassuring me what I was saying. He said, "Yeah, I like that. Keep going, keep going." And he kept wanting me to talk more and more. I got a little happy, got a little comfortable. You know, I started sliding down my seat a little bit. I got comfortable with me, so he made me very comfortable in the whole deal. So I appreciate that, man.
Yeah, he was very good with us. I mean, like, he just sat there and said, "Let's just hold a conversation just between me and you, you know. Forget about the cameras. Just have a conversation with me." And so that made it easier, you know, for us to just talk and be ourselves. And so for that, we thank you for putting us at ease.
I have a grandson that has a degree in arts and letters, and I told him, I said, "Look, Mama ain't gonna be on TV, man. I'm in a movie." I was a nervous wreck, y'all, be honest.
No, she was not. She was not. Well, you know, this has been, the Edys are fantastic people. I had met them once before, and they had so much praise for Micah and said that, you know, they've known him since he graduated. They've been involved in several projects with him, and they feel like he's their son. And I just I second what you said, Betty, is that, it was like, let's just talk, let's have a conversation. And so when we would mess up, he was like, don't worry about it, just keep going. And that's what we would do. So it was a real pleasure to work with the Eddies and with Micah and others involved in the project.
I second it. It was easy with Micah. When I met him, he felt like a brother, right off top. So there was nothing to be nervous about because you already know the history. So you're just talking and letting it out. Not only the history, so like Aunt May here, I still get to this day, I still get history from her that is unknown or that I'm still curious about. And that history started like when I was younger. And it's every day is something that I'm finding out more and more about the family history. So it's a life journey of knowing the history. And like I say, the history is to be told, not sold. So that's what we're doing. We're letting our history out. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And I'm glad to hear Micah treated y'all right. That means we got the right person for the job. So Micah, tell us from this project, what is something you learned that you will carry with you to your next project? Because we know you got lots of projects going on, lots of next things for you, but what will you take from your experience with these two families?
Well, the first thing is hearing that we were able to make you all comfortable, right? That's a big thing. You're making film, you're making movies, it's business, but it's humans behind all of this. And so to take care of the humans is something that you want to take with every project. I think the biggest takeaway, maybe not even just to the next film, but just in life in general, the previous question you talked about, how can our elders and our more seasoned generation pass it down to the younger generation? Mm-hmm. I really think it's incumbent and some responsibility on the younger generation. Right. Miss Andrea said in the film, we perish from a lack of knowledge.
Yeah.
And I truly believe that we have to go out there and seek and ask those questions. Even if they don't want to talk about it, got to ask those questions. Yeah. I remember in April of 2022, I interviewed my maternal grandmother on camera. She was 86, and she fussed the entire time. She didn't want to do it at all. In February 2023, she was no longer with us. And I am so glad that I was able to document that, to ask those questions. So I think that's the biggest thing, is just to ask the questions, to know your history, and you can prosper from it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So before we get to, because we do want to give a little bit of time for folks in the audience to ask some questions if they have questions about the film or about your family. But one last question for me is, what core message or what feeling do you hope that audiences, because we don't have just people right here viewing this film is going to be everywhere, right? So what do you want them to take away from the message from this film? And we'll start down here and we'll just move our way down. Yeah.
Well, the message I hope and pray that's conveyed by this film is that be able to share your story. It's no good if you keep it to yourself. You have to be able to share it. Let's be real right now. In this environment that we live in right now, or the environment that's going on right now, there's so much history being erased. So my thing is, and I thank the city of Lewisville for this, and remember this slogan: don't erase the history, embrace the history. And I thank Lewisville for doing that.
I just ditto everything he just said.
You got something to say, Brown? Go ahead.
All right, I think of gone but not forgotten. It's like of losing a loved one, but where you keep them alive is in your heart and talking about them. So we got to keep talking about it. Keep talking about the history and keep passing it on. And because if you don't talk about it, you'll forget about it. And people can't pass it on, some people forget. And so that's what I think.
And I like what Micah said about recording. Talking to older people, take out a little recorder, your phone now, right? And, just ask the questions and get it keep it someplace and make sure that younger people know about it. Because I learned a lot about our family just in the process of doing this film that I just didn't know about. But I do feel that these cemeteries are just really sacred places, for all of us. And eventually, I think that the city of Lewisville would like for our cemeteries to be educational places where people can come throughout the year, students, and learn about our family and about the history of how Lewisville has invested in its diverse communities. So all that is really important, but I think capturing the stories is really the main thing. Yeah.
I just want to say the young people really need to talk to your, older people, your grandfather, your grandmother, and asked a bunch of questions, because I didn't, when I was little, I didn't know to ask a bunch of questions. And so therefore I missed out on getting a lot of history on my father's side. My mother lived until she was 92, so I was able to get, quite a bit of information out of her on her side of the family. But my dad didn't talk that much. But, make them talk to you and tell you, their story and their life history, because otherwise you won't know. They'll be dead and gone, or Alzheimer's or something that they can't tell you. So while they can talk to you, find out as much as you can about your history, because you're not going to find it in the schools, okay?
And the last thing I'll add, Mr. Billy Redmond said it in the film, us as Black Americans, we're not beggars, we're doers. And for these families to have bought that land, to have kept it up for nearly 200 years, I see life in our families as a relay race. They done ran a long way with that baton. Us younger generation, we got to pick up the baton and keep running. Right? Pass the torch for 100 years more. So that's the takeaway for me.
Okay, so we want to switch to Q&A for the audience. We have a few folks coming down. They have mics, so if you just raise your hand, they can find you and give you a mic.
Hi, my name is Portia Burns, and as I sit here, I can't help but to see you all, and I can definitely tell you have some Caribbean ancestors. My question is, with my research, the late Cassandra had children before Mr. Fox came and brought her here. Were you guys ever able to make a connection with any family members over in the Caribbean?
That's a great question. My wife, Betty, who's sitting here in the audience here, just did a DNA ancestry, find out, and we're working on it now. Right now, I think on the tree, we have seen where it's dated back to just to connect us to that, I think 1860 or something like that. It's going to be difficult, Betty has said, is because the records over in the Caribbeans. And so if we could ever find the village, okay, or wherever she was taken from, I think that would be able to give us a little bit more information about Cassandra Fox, because as far as I know, that's as far as we can go on that lineage. And what was her name before she was Cassandra Fox? So that's a great question, but we're working on it.